Now, the famous Pareto principle says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities. In sales, especially, the rule says that 80% of the sales will come from 20% of the salespeople. That means that 20% of the sales come from 80% of the salespeople. In my experience, the top 20% in sales, and I've worked with thousands of the top salespeople in America, those top 20% are always people who have made a conscious decision to become excellent in the field of selling. If they did not suddenly stumble in to being in the top 20%, it was not an accident. They made a very clear, conscious decision well in advance when they started their sales career that they were going to become very, very good at what they were doing. And that conscious decision is what put them in the top 20%. Small marginal differences in competence translate into enormous differences in results. Prudential Insurance Company did a study of their thousands of agents a few years ago and found out that the 80-20 rule held true over wide geographic areas. 80% of their sales were coming from 20% of their salespeople. Now, when they sat down and they looked at the figures and the statistics, they ran them through the computer and found that this worked out that the top 20% were earning on average 16 times that of the bottom 80%. So they decided to carry the study a little bit further, and they compared the average income of the top 20% of the top 20%, which is the top 4%, and they found that the average income of the top 4% was 32 times the average income of those in the bottom 80%. So they took the study a little bit further, and they took the top 20% of the top 20% of the top 20%, which is the top 0.8%, and they found that the top 0.8% were earning on average 54 times that of the average of the bottom 80%. Same product, same market, same price, same competition, and in each state there was at least one adult agent who was earning more than 50 other full-time adult agents. In every case, the top people had made a decision a long time ago to be the best. Were the people in the top 20% 16 times better than the people in the bottom 80%? Were they 16 times faster, 16 times more experienced? Did they work 16 times harder? What about the people in the top 4%? Were they 32 times smarter? Did they work 32 times harder? No. In every single case, the difference that translated into enormous differences in income was just slight marginal edges, slight tiny differences in competence. And that's all that it takes. The top 20% in every field are just a little tiny bit better in certain areas than the bottom 80%. Now remember this, anything less than a commitment to excellence is an acceptance of mediocrity. People don't realize that, but unless you make the conscious commitment that you're going to become very good at what you do, what you are unconsciously accepting is that you are only going to be mediocre. The top 20% in every field prosper in good times and bad. Excellence is the key to lifelong economic security. Now, this is an important point because, in my experience, at least 80% of the population worries about money all the time. They worry about money in the morning, and they think about money all day, and they talk about money in the evenings, and they worry about it on the weekends. Perhaps the only times that they don't worry about money is sometimes on their holidays or sometimes when they're drinking. But almost everybody worries about money all the time. However, if you join the top 20%, you never have to worry about money again, because you will never be unemployed. No matter what happens to the economy, the top 20% in every field are always working. And employers are always seeking out the top 20%. That if you make the decision to become excellent at what you do, you have lifelong economic security, that you don't have to worry about money. From then, you'll only then have to worry about how much you earn and, of course, how much taxes you pay. Remember, instead of trying to be hundreds of percent better in one area, concentrate on just being 1 or 2% better in hundreds of areas. This is the key to excellence. This is the key to high achievement. Now, the same principles of excellence hold true for companies as for individuals. 20% of the companies earn 80% of the profits in every industry. They do this by developing an area of excellence, a competitive advantage that causes them to stand out from their competition. A perfect example is IBM. Now, if you talk to IBM people, or if you look at IBM advertising, you'll find one point which has been made over and over for over 60 years. It's simply this, is that IBM means service. You know that if you buy a product from IBM, that you're going to get the best service in the world. And many people will pay far more for an IBM product that does exactly the same thing as another product because of the security that they have knowing if they buy from IBM, that IBM will take care of them. In other words, IBM has developed an area of excellence. The area of excellence is that nobody will compete with them on service. And that is the key perception in the minds of the millions of people who buy their products and sometimes pay more for their products throughout the world every year. Every single company has to have a competitive advantage that enables them to stand out from their competition. The market will always pay extra for quality. You see, when we go to buy something in the market, we always buy it because we think it is the very best product for our purposes at that time. And any product and any company that does not stand out from its competition in some way is going to fail in the marketplace. What is yours? What is your area of excellence? What is your competitive advantage as a person? What is the competitive advantage or area of excellence of your business? What could it be? What should it be?